Welcome to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, bearded Kappa Litton.
I'm Jerry Robo Tengu Smith. How's it going, Sean?
You know what? It's going, and we're going to get into that. But first, my God, I do love our new opening music, and I hope our audience does too.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. I'm so glad that we could take the time to learn those instruments and learn a mixer and figure out how to mix those sounds and all of those. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't do that.
I wasn't. I was
Yeah,
totally about to
yeah,
play right into that, and like you can check out our albums by not us, but instead Jan Tracks, who had
yeah.
made Ronin, which is the song we are using, off
Yes.
copyright free. But of course, we want to acknowledge the amazing artist who made this nice. I don't know from these kids' musics, but it sounds kind of like trap bass, maybe. I don't
Yes.
know.
Oh, it
It's
is. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it's trap
yeah,
music.
which is awesome. I love it with the Samisen that we both have come to love and appreciate after watching the Snow White Notes anime.
Yes.
Well,
So good. I mean,
liked
I
it before,
appreciated it.
yeah, but
I mean, I think my love for that instrument really started with Kubo.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't seen Kubo of the Two Strings
yeah.
from 2016, it is a phenomenal film. Stop motion, really sweet journey. Wild, interesting characters.
Right.
It's so good. Check it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Well,
Mm,
granted, like when I first heard the shamisen, I had no idea what it was, but
right.
growing up in like the '80s and stuff and '90s, you would see these, you know, culturally inaccurate Americanized martial art films, and there's always
Mhm.
somebody when they go to Japan playing it. So that sound, that very unique sound that it
Yeah,
makes, has always been in my
yeah.
head. And then
It's
yeah.
like a banjo but with class.
I'm sure that offended someone, and I'm here for it because that is an
Yeah.
amazing way to describe it. It's a Japanese banjo with class.
No
Holy
offense to any of the banjo players. Banjo's great too.
no, no. Comparing a shamisen to a banjo, I hope the banjo that is a compliment. All right, and I hope that insulted banjo players out
Uh,
there. Y'all are talented too. Just delivery
Listen
ruined it
here,
for me.
you fucking swamp shamisen players.
Swap shamisen. I'm just saying the banjo got ruined because for every fat man who saw Deliverance, because that's
Oh
just bad
God.
news. That's bad news for us. Gonna squeal like a
Ugh.
pig. We are.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Uh,
So anyway,
yeah, let's something else besides talking about hillbilly rape and banjos.
so I did a thing this past week, and I didn't realize that I was doing it. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I've got a new profile picture that I use on a lot of places. I've got three different ones now
Right.
for Robotengu. And I actually had this artist. They go by Constant Scribbles on Twitter if you want to check them out. But they're like a huge Transformer fan.
Right.
Um, I don't know why I said it like that, like it was in
It was
question.
kind of
But
insulting,
they are.
to be honest, but I'm gonna let you continue anyway.
Oh, right, right. But they had this new Transformers series start called the War of Cybertron.
Right.
And I honestly didn't realize it, but it's a trilogy series. And I checked out the first episode when it came out. Beautiful, like animation, and it was just such a good like in that war setting. So it's kind of dark and gritty.
Right.
But it's like all the characters and designs that you really love. Well, earlier this year, they announced the final part of the trilogy, War of Cybertron Kingdom, which was going to bring in the Beast Wars, which was my era of Transformers. I know you started from the beginning, right? Like
Yeah, I'm an old
with the
man.
show and the movie.
Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
1980s and
oh
the
yeah,
late '80s movie. Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, so we in 2020 we got Siege, Earthrise, and then 2021 we got Kingdom. So since Kingdom was coming out and we were getting all of the Beast Wars again, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna like marathon this, and I actually finished it up last week, and it's so cool because they basically just made a new timeline for it.
Right.
Um, and they had influences of the movie, and then they had influences of Beast Wars in it, where it's like these are both alternate timelines that they're trying to change from happening.
Oh,
It was really interesting, and like shit was just going down on Cybertron because the Allspark was gone. I'm not going to spoil what happened with it or anything, but the planet was dying. So occasionally you go back to like the Autobots and Decepticons that are still on Cybertron and their war, and then you'll have like the others in space like fighting over and trying to find the Allspark and everything. And it was just like a phenomenal series. And then it was just kind of funny because Steph and I realized a while back that like for somehow the Toys That Made Us Netflix series we had not watched a few episodes, and one of the episodes we had was the Transformers one. So we were like, oh, cool, let's watch this.
right.
And yeah, and it was really good, really amazing, so heartfelt.
Yeah,
From
really good show.
the yeah. But because we watched that, they brought in, like, mentioned the Transformers movie, and that made me want to watch the movie. So then after that, we watched the movie. And as I was going to bed that night, I realized that it had been the 35-year anniversary of Transformers. So it was kind of very worked out very well, and it was kind of interesting that that was happening the same time I decided to watch all this stuff just randomly. But yeah, I can't recommend War for Cybertron enough. It was a really stellar series.
Nice. Now, here I am, very much ashamed to say, and we're having a Transformers conversation about
Yeah.
something I have not watched. Because
Mm-hmm.
I did watch Siege, and maybe wrong timing, maybe I was preoccupied with, sometimes video games get in my way of shows. Uh,
Uh
I know I watched it. I couldn't tell you a thing that happened. So
huh.
now that I know the trilogy is out,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna definitely give them a shot because they're short seasons, aren't they? They're not like
Yeah,
a
they're
ton
only
of
like
episodes.
6 episodes.
Right,
Yeah, with just like 20 to 30-minute episodes.
right. So something I need to get caught up on, and maybe we'll do a real breakdown or something if I like it enough. If not, we're gonna leave it here with you. Now, being the two of us, you are the one that truly has the touch. You have the power.
Man, and it's kind of wild because I've honestly like, God, I haven't bought a Transformer since Beast Wars was out,
Right.
back in the day, and like been giving them some serious consideration and looking at them online.
So
Is-
who was your main? Who was your favorite Beast War Transformer?
favorite Beast War. It's kind of funny. Both of them were actually Predacons
Okay.
to start out with.
I'm a
Pterosaur, just because he was kind of an asshole, and I loved pterodactyls at the time.
okay. Yeah.
So you could, like Swoop was probably my favorite Dinobot.
Right.
And he was also super easy to transform, but I also fucking loved Dinobot.
Dinobot.
Just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, he just had such an interesting story arc, and even in War for Cybertron, he had a kind of interesting story arc whenever he was in it. So,
See.
and they, like, since these series have been coming out, they've been releasing new versions of all of these that have like,
Oh.
yeah, they've been like, not easier necessarily to transform, but like, well, like, better put together, because back in the day they just worked with whatever they could afford,
Right.
and nowadays Transformers has so much money that they could just pump money into all of these classic Transformers and everything.
Oh,
And since you
dude.
have like, what's up?
Oh, sorry. I was going to interject when you talk about
Yeah,
the transformation difficulty.
yeah.
It's amazing what it's gone through because
Hmm.
you needed a engineering degree when I was a kid. If you lost those instruction manuals and you had
Oh
like
yeah.
it wasn't your favorite one that you transformed all the time, like
Uh-huh.
to this day, our buddy Craig, I think he got one. He did buy one. Yeah, yeah. He has a G1 Optimus Prime, an original, I think in
Uh,
box, and he wants a Megatron. And we found one at a show one day, and he calls me over because I am the Transformers guy of the crew, and he's
yeah.
like, "All right, I want you to transform him so I can see, he looks okay here. I want to make sure they don't keep him in that form, and it's because he looks like shit, in his robot form, for example. I think we were trying to
Right.
turn him from robot to gun, and there were no instructions. I couldn't do it, bro. Like I could not transform Megatron for shit. Eventually,
was it the gun version, the original?
Yeah. Oh, G1 original gun, everything into the Walter P38, I believe is the gun type. Eventually, Craig was like, "I'll give you this much." Like made the deal because we couldn't transform it. To this day, it may only still be stuck in half gun, half robot mode. But then, okay, actually, before I get into that, because something I noticed, Beast Wars was not my thing. I did watch. Right. I want you to try and guess who my favorite Transformer from Beast Wars was.
Was it a Primal or a Predacon?
Predacon. I'm a Soundwave guy. I root for the bad guys. The Transformers, the Autobots, that's just all kind of like, they were trying to oppress Cybertron, dude. Megatron's just trying to freak shit.
Right.
Predacon.
Yeah, huh.
Which is so funny to me that they're called that, because my favorite combiner from G1 is Predaking, and they were called the Predacons.
That's hilarious. Was it one of the originals?
I'm not sure. I don't remember anymore.
Oh, I swear to God, if you say Black Arachnia.
Yup.
Oh my God.
Hey, you know how I feel about spiders, dude.
Why are you like this?
She's a badass, dude. Like,
yeah. No, she was awesome in Kingdom as well. Like, yeah.
That is the only Beast Wars toy I ever bought, and it was simple as shit to transform. I'm like, wow, are kids dumber, or did they get tired of hearing complaints? But now with the re-releases and even some of these more modern, just newer Transformers, they finally found their medium. Like 35th anniversary, 35 years later, I think they found a good medium for transforming difficulty with or without instructions. Because some of them were simple, even back in my day. But like Grimlock, I remember being difficult for me. A lot of the Dinobots, maybe not Swoop, because I never actually played with a Swoop back in the day. But and some of the cars were a bit easier. But man, like I said, Megatron, fucking difficult as hell.
Another character that I ended up really liking because of the series, which I don't know, I always kind of had an affinity for like things that flied or jets and stuff like that. But Jetfire, was awesome, which is hilarious because he's originally a Macross robot.
He is absolutely a repainted, what do they call Valkyries? Yeah. Which is funny because like in the cartoon they changed the head into the typical Transformer with the humanoid face, but the toy still the Valkyrie head. Only in recent iterations, but they still acknowledge it too, because usually he'll come with a replaceable head to make it either the Transformer or the Robotech, as we know it, or Macross and whatever. That thing's like a hodgepodge, like 3 anime at one point.
Yeah, Robotech and everything. Yeah, man, and I loved that. Like, they had this whole military. It was kind of like a mixture of Gundam and Transformers almost, where you had like, your military that's fighting the aliens, but they're in transformable robots, and I think they even at one point had transformable like motorcycle robots too. Pretty dope.
I'm pretty sure, because one of my YouTubers, the Happy Console Gamer, he's a big fan of Macross specifically because in Canada, apparently he grew up right near an import shop, so he had like tons of Japanese like anime on like Laserdisc and VHS before it ever got passed around. And a gift of his was the transformable motorcycles. That's literally the only reason I know those are our thing. I did not watch Macross back in the day. Or any of the
it was funny because I didn't know anything about them until they released a game for them. The games were fun. They were not well done, but I enjoyed them enough.
I remember a PS2 game getting a lot of attention, of the Robotech PS2 game. They still called it Robotech, I think. So I remember that being good. But weirdly enough, Black Arachnia for Beast Wars for me.
That is so bizarre to me. I'm kind of sad because they didn't bring Pterosaur into Kingdom. I would have loved like a remake of that. It was such a dumb and simple toy,
right?
But I fucking love the shit out of that toy.
Well, nothing like a new show though to get you to want to buy new merch.
Oh, seriously, yeah, and they're not terribly expensive, so I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, it was good. It was really good, and I recommend it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out for sure.
Get
Uh,
back in.
the only, I've been watching a few things, nothing really of note. I can't remember if we talked about it or not, but the American Horror Stories, which is just
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
I'm
feel
not
that.
I'm not feeling it super hard, but and I enjoyed it. It
Mhm.
comparable to the rest of the franchises,
Mhm.
or rest of the franchises technically a part of. Suicide Squad came out, and
Oh yes.
while yeah, like not a perfect film, I would
Uh-huh.
argue the best movie DC has dropped since the Nolan trilogy.
Oh yes.
But super enjoyable, which I think we're going to get into. So this came out last Thursday on HBO as a recording. We're here on a Monday, so a few days out. Spoiler warning. 'Cause we're going to talk
Yes.
about some shit. I don't know, how much we're going to deep dive into it. I enjoy the shit
Oh,
out of it.
I mean, there's a spoiler right off at the
Yeah,
beginning of the fucking movie.
right. Which I saw coming a little bit.
Yeah.
That little meta knowledge when you
Yeah,
get
it made sense.
when you get the initial team. Although Harley
Yeah.
Quinn was almost made me not think about it, but I was like,
Yeah.
huh, I don't see Idris Elba, I don't see John Cena.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh,
Uh-huh.
these fuckers are dead.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
Harley threw me for a loop, but there was also that thought like, oh, especially when they all started dying off. I'm like, oh
Yep.
wow, what if Margot Robbie's done? She did 3 movies. That's a lot of times. That's the contract. Oh, if they had
Yeah.
killed Harley in the beginning, that would have been. And I'm a Harley
Oh.
fan, and I love Margot Robbie as Harley when she's putting good films that are well written,
Mhm.
like Birds of Prey, and like this movie, not like Suicide Squad. Because we're talking about the Suicide Squad. That's how you know the difference, apparently.
Yeah. 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 There's
Uh,
the
but like, if she had bowed out after this film, I'm like, wow, that would have. I think that would have actually upped it a little bit, in my opinion, just to have the balls to kill Harley Quinn. For a movie, I'm sure the fans would have exploded, and it would have been worth it.
right.
But I heard some people really upset about Jai Courtney. Like, a
Oh.
boomerang bit it.
Yeah, I know. I was a little surprised. I was kind of hoping like he would make it just
Hmm.
so we could get some more of him, but yeah, I don't know. I guess he outlived it. But I mean, with the way that the comics go, he had a son in the comics that took up that mantle too.
Oh, okay.
So if they ever wanted to do something boomerang, it wouldn't be as whimsical, I feel like, but
Right.
I don't know. They could possibly do it. But I mean, again, he's just a B-lister. But it also kind of sucks that we'll never get him in Flash now. So
Well, Flash. DC right now is truly playing around with the multiverse because, like,
yeah.
Joker takes place in its own thing. Uh,
Yeah.
another film did, I can't think, because
Well,
this one,
I guess they could also potentially do what they did with Wonder Woman and have
yeah,
the Flash movie take place as the Flash origin.
right.
They could do their stuff ass
Well,
backwards like they've been doing anyway.
honestly, my understanding, and of course, is it's fucking Warner Brothers with the DC property. It could be fucking anything by the end of it.
Right.
The Flash movie is Flashpoint. It's gonna be their
Uh
reset. It's gonna change everything. Which
huh.
at this point, fucking go ahead, and
Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with that. Get a fresh start. I know there are fans of the DCU, and I get that. I have a friend who, my God, he's a great dude. I'm not going to call him out on the show because although I doubt he listens anyway. In my group discussions, where someone was like, "No, I really liked it," he was like, "It was okay," and it was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
fine." But then my buddy said, "Yeah, it was better than the original, at least." And my friend said, "I wouldn't go that far," and I almost threw my phone.
Ugh. Oh.
I was like, "Oh my
I,
God, bro, do you stay so skinny just working this hard to have bad opinions? Is this how you do it?"
I I actually had somebody on Facebook yesterday, and like it's somebody that I just knew through Facebook that I
Yeah,
never really like interacted with or anything. Like I think we just became friends at the con scene.
right.
And like they literally said that they hated this movie and they preferred the first one. I'm like, that's all the reason I needed, and I just unfriended them.
Oh, wow. Hey, you know
Yeah,
what? I've unfriended for less. No,
yeah, yeah.
sadly, and I've talked with this guy before. He has horrible opinions about a lot of things, and we both,
Mm,
and he's like, and we're cool about it. Like even when we have gotten into it, it's always been
yeah.
civil and cordial. He thinks Lord of the Rings is boring. I say you don't know what an adventure film is. He thinks
Mm,
that he thinks Jared Leto was a better Joker than Heath Ledger. And
Oh,
I know, right? And like I said, and I love him and his family. His wife is going to be a guest on my horror podcast soon. I met them through Tori and Chris. They work with them. They usually help them run their booths. Like I said. And good people, love them to death. But like this
yeah.
dude, like bro, you have horrible taste. Which of course, is subjective. And anyone out there listening who agrees with him, cool. That's fine. Enjoy being wrong. It's as long as you're getting some enjoyment, as long as they keep making comic book films, they're not all going to land. This one landed
Oh yeah.
for the most part. I
Oh
feel
yeah. Yeah.
because like though to me the most ignorant statement, it wasn't from my friend. It's this stuff I've seen online, and when I stupidly click the comment sections, they complained like it was too much like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
I like, oh, you don't fucking say. And two things: James Gunn, and of course he likes bringing in his actors.
yeah.
Two, that's exactly what Warner Brothers did, complete reshoots for the original Suicide Squad to try and make it like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
They just cut out the middleman and hired the fucking director once he got in a little bit of trouble. So it's like, yeah, no shit. Which, by the way, I didn't catch this. Like, obviously, you saw Savant, Michael Rooker, I think is his name.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Rooker.
And did you catch was it Sam Gunn, James Gunn's brother?
Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn. Did you catch him? I know he was Weasel. He was the mocap for Weasel. Did you catch his other appearance in the movie?
Oh yeah, Calendar Man. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you catch the actual the actor who plays an actual member of the Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, I didn't.
I did not either, which is a shame because I have a crush on this actress.
Yeah.
Mantis was was the lead dancer in the red dress in the club where they find the Thinker.
Oh.
Which I
Wow.
cannot remember her name right in front of me right now. But yeah, she was in there, and Gunn has already said, like, you know what? Before the movie got mass released and everyone noticed, all the fans, I guess, really noticed her because I missed her. But like he had commented, like, there's still another Guardians actor in there who's a Guardian that even all these reviewers who got the early releases, no one said anything about her.
Yeah.
He wouldn't say her though. He was like, wouldn't mention. So she snuck by. Granted, she's in there for like a few seconds, but
Yeah.
again,
Palm Clementif
yes,
is her name.
yeah, very good actress. I thoroughly enjoyed her as Mantis, and she's also adorable as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, so, we mentioned the opening scene is basically like this whole half of the cast getting slaughtered right off the bat, right? And it's so good because like they cast some kind of big names, right?
Right.
Like Pete Davidson from SNL, Nathan Fillion was in it. You said Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
It was just in Sean Gunn. They also had the comedian Flula Borg. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all.
No.
And then they had he was the one that played Javelin.
Javelin. Okay.
With the long blonde hair.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing Katana listed. Where was Katana in this film?
Maybe in the prison. Was she next to Kaleidoscope?
And I
had to look up who that was in the prison. Yeah. I would if they're listing Katana, it had to have been somewhere in the maybe the prison scene or somewhere low key because I did not notice her either.
No, Loki was not in this film. Wrong company.
I will fly to Seattle and then walk to Everett to choke you, Jared.
So that was, I guess, the B team. Right. And as we know, Rick Flag survived that encounter. So did Harley Quinn. So they introduced that they had another squad, another team on the ground during this, and basically the other squad was supposed to be the distraction, so the main squad could sneak on the beach and everything.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting how they did this because they did not bring Deadshot back. They didn't bring Will Smith's character back, which I'm fine with. They did Idris Elba as Bloodsport, which was fucking awesome.
My only little hang up, and he did amazing. He did great. I don't know shit about the character, but he was cool.
Yeah.
He was a great leader for the team. Played off Cena especially very well, and everyone,
Yeah.
because Idris Elba's an amazing fucking actor. I just didn't like that they basically just rehashed Deadshot's or origin from Suicide
Yeah,
Squad.
with the daughter and everything.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
they couldn't give it a little bit better, but apparently
Yeah.
they actually I think Will Smith was up for it, but they decided they wanted to hold him off because he may return in a later project. Is my
Oh.
understanding. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
official, but it's something that's just what I've seen kind of passed around.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm I also love because I know, whenever you have these big stars, it's kind of hard to keep them in a suit with a
Right.
mask and everything on. But I love that he had the Bloodsport mask on for quite a bit of the film.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
That
like
was really good.
and it was reasonable. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
Deadshot lost the mask after the fucking first introduction.
Yeah.
You don't cover up Will Smith apparently, but Idris Elba, no problem with that. And like he had it off a lot, but he also would put it on for battle, which would make sense with his
Hmm.
very cool. Like if y'all hadn't seen it, who are listening, we're spoiling it, so I don't know why you're listening, but his way of like taking pieces of his suit to make his guns change was
So cool.
just fucking cool. I just
Yeah.
really enjoyed that aspect of him, as well.
That
Like I
was
said, it's
so well
Elba.
done.
Yeah, so Elba does great. And again, for the people who say they preferred the original, and you have the nerve to say you're a Harley Quinn fan, uh, and maybe I haven't watched the first one in a long time. Granted, I've watched it only once, and that's all I felt I needed. Her character development, and I'm talking the trilogy of Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn,
Yeah.
from low camera angle booty shots in the first one, which is literally,
Yep.
and granted the toxic relationship with Joker, which was only shown at the very end, even though he was so forced into that fucking movie, it was pathetic.
They actually showed a few more clips of it and everything. Steph and I just rewatched. So we rewatched Suicide Squad after watching the Suicide Squad,
Right.
just so Steph could see how big of a difference they were. And then
Yeah.
yesterday we did the Birds of Prey movie.
Right. Yeah. Then we go into Birds of Prey, which had the breakup with Joker, and to kind of showing her up by herself. To just a scene alone with that general who took over the country and her explaining about the red flags
Yeah.
showed so much growth to me
Oh
in,
yeah.
in Harley, which was a better way of her getting away from Joker than they did in the fucking comic books.
Oh yeah.
Because it was just like, oh, he dyed me white like him. I'm crazy. I'm done. But her addressing like the warning signs of an abusive relationship, that was done better than the actual source material. So,
Mhm.
if we needed the original Suicide Squad to make this into a complete arc, which we do, I think it shows. But it also, I think, people who said they prefer the original and like Harley, you are liking the damaged, like the less, I don't think as good of an interpretation of her,
Right.
into the modern Harley. If it would have worked.
Just
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, just on that movie in general, like just the fact that they like the wardrobe design was just really not good for that entire movie.
Oh no, and which is ironic because Suicide Squad won like best, I think, outfits or
Yeah,
design. It must have been a slow Academy Awards. Not that anyone gives a shit about the Academy Awards anymore,
right.
but like, yeah, like this movie is, in my opinion, of course, you're entitled to your own. Those out there listening, because I know you and me agree, it's far superior to the original. And I think it's a good step forward. Like now, granted, like a lot of people are like, give James Gunn the entire DCU. Like, no,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
love
I
James
don't think
Gunn.
so.
I like his film style. I like a lot of his movies. I don't want to see him direct Superman. I don't want to see
Yeah,
him
right.
direct. Batman might be interesting because I'd like to see him go dark without the camp, because he goes dark. But I haven't seen him not go campy, which that's fine. That's his bag, and he does it very well.
Yeah,
But like I don't want to see. I definitely don't want to see him direct a Superman film. What I
yeah.
and speaking of that,
I mean,
Go ahead.
he already directed a Superman movie, right?
which is exactly what we would get. I don't need another Zack Snyder, but turned up to be more entertaining version of
Yeah,
Dark because he did do Brightburn. He absolutely
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Which that's the only Superman I need him to make. I don't need him
And
to.
he already did Batman too. What do you think Super was? Come on, shut up, crime.
So that movie's so amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it's real great.
so what I do want to jump ahead to something though, real quick, before I
Yeah.
forget to bring it up. The
Uh-huh.
one thing I would change, but I get why they wouldn't go this direction, because it is a movie for not only comic book fans but also your general audiences. Right when like they were done, and Bloodsport was like, we're done, mission's over, we got the drive, we got a thing, we're just gonna leave Star Road to it.
Yeah.
I would have kept them walking, and you just see a red streak shooting towards Starro.
That.
Like literally, let the villains be like, "We're fucking done. We're out. I don't give a shit about these
Yeah.
people."
Yeah,
Which
we finished our job.
yeah, like that would be because they are villains. I know we're making them likable, almost
Oh
anti-hero
yeah.
level. So they had to turn
Yeah.
around and go save the city from the kaiju, which was fucking great. But like that is the only change I would have made in this film. I would have literally just shown like to see like a red streak and a few other things, like see the Justice League kind of coming from different directions to handle him. Because Starro was the first monster the Justice League fought. So that would have been a nice, also little subtle tie-in with that, but also to keep them as the villains of like, make them likable. I don't believe you. I think you could have made this movie without making them redeemable,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, for sure.
it was still well done. That's just my own taste of how I would have liked to have made a villain film. Would have been
Uh-huh.
just like, well, Starro's still destroying the city. Well, we got our shit. Let's go. I don't want to get blown up. and
Right.
and literally
Yep.
just maybe have Ratcatcher looking back because she was very not
Yeah.
not much of a villain, but like yeah, and just see them kind of walk off, like see the credits roll. That would have been amazing.
Yeah. And she was such a standout character in the movie, like way more than
Yeah.
I thought she would be. Played by Daniela Makor.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ratcatcher was a phenomenal character. Like
yeah, she was.
she was like the heart of the team. They also had John Cena as Peacemaker, of course, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Sylvester Stallone voiced King Shark, which was awesome.
Yeah,
And then Idris Elba as Bloodsport, David Dashmelishan as Polka Dot Man, which was honestly one of my favorites.
he was good.
Like I loved Polka Dot Man and I loved Peacemaker in this film, and they both really really stood out. But like the whole thing when you find out that Polka Dot Man like has like mommy issues and like sees everyone as his mom,
Right.
that was fucking great. Like
yeah, that was
it was yeah.
that was very creative to because like elements like that of making them into like the the villains you could feel bad for, like Ratcatcher with her dad Tati Watiti. I always fuck up his name.
Yeah.
Like you caught who that was, right? It was Ratcatcher
With
1.
who?
Ratcatcher 1.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Director
I didn't hit it until they actually showed that scene.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, okay, there we go. I was trying to remember like where they had him in that movie, but yep, absolutely, he was her dad,
Yeah.
the first Ratcatcher.
So like you got her like kind of seeing where she grew up in, like they didn't really get into why she ended up in that prison, but you got to kind of figure she was just trying to survive based on how her and her dad lived. Polka Dot Man,
Yeah.
also you feel because his mommy gave him a fucking space virus, giving him fucking
Yeah.
issues. They call him Norman Bates at one point.
Yeah.
So you get that. King Shark, even him a little bit, the way which I don't know how he's always represented in the comics. From what I've seen, he usually is just a killing machine. But I actually liked I did enjoy the humanization, the slow humanization of him, like him trying to eat Ratcatcher at the very beginning. Nom
So
nom.
good.
And then like
Yeah.
it's still grow. And I mean, if you're gonna take one still from the movie of something iconic, the lightning strike behind as he ripped that guard in half, King Shark got
Yeah.
my that's a screensaver right there. That's wallpaper on the computer.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful
Yeah.
imagery. But like Peacemaker, who understandable, which also spoilers. Again, we've already said. I'm gonna stop saying spoilers. The end credit scene confirming what I sadly already heard. Which,
Yeah.
but after seeing him get shot in the throat and apparently dying, I was like, well, maybe it'll be a prequel. But like, yeah, showing the end credit that he did live in, because I'd already seen that there've been several news things about him reprising the role in a spinoff. So,
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for that. And like the whole like pissing contest between him and Bloodsport throughout the
Yeah.
movie was really good, especially when they get to that village
right.
and they're all like just murdering folks, and then it turns out that those were like freedom fighters.
Yeah.
Like shit.
Oh, dude. And what was, oh man, I can't remember the line, but it was like, what you're doing is just showing off. He goes, yeah, it's not showing off when it's fucking dope. And Idris Elba was like, yeah, fuck, he's right. Or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like Elba played off everybody. Because again, that rivalry with
yeah,
his bonding kind of, I'm guessing seeing his daughter in Ratcatcher 2. That was very
yeah,
good. Even like I said,
yeah.
talking with King Shark and interactions like that. Flag I think was a lot better, which like
Oh yeah,
him his portrayal and like the only thing I kind of would have pushed off, which they didn't really address it, but maybe it was just maybe a little more subtle, like the fact that he got sent in for the death squad.
mm,
And like I believe out of everyone because he's still not one of the ones with the bombs. He just worked for Waller.
yeah,
So like that could have been addressed maybe a little bit, but again, didn't take anything away from it. But
yeah,
everyone did the deed. Everyone, I thought, everyone acting, all the acting, even in the bit roles. This fucking
yeah.
Nathan Fillion as was it
Oh yeah,
armed detached boy is the way he's kind of a play
yeah.
off of. And
TDK,
yeah,
right?
the slap 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 slap. And then Firefly
Yeah.
fans were disappointed again.
And then, I mean, you mentioned Amanda Waller, but
Yeah,
Viola Davis reprising her role as Amanda Waller,
yeah,
man, she fucking runs that role. Like,
yeah. She
she
does.
is perfect at it. She's fucking terrifying.
She is very good. Like because like the last like the animated Amanda Waller was always good, and the last
Yeah.
one I remember is one of my other girlfriends out there in the world. Pam Grier had played Amanda Waller, I believe, in Smallville,
Oh,
but she was not as vicious as this one. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I don't remember them ever addressing Suicide Squad level of what or Task Force X.
yeah,
We don't like the name Suicide Squad. But yeah, no,
yeah.
excellent film. I enjoyed it a lot. Perfect, nah, but enjoyable. I'll probably end up watching, throwing it back on again here sometime soon. I haven't said that about a DC film in a long time.
Yeah, I honestly, not gonna lie, I've thought about it as well. Like, just rewatching it, and like we just watched it on Friday, so
Right.
yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure.
it was very good.
Excellent. But that'll be like I said, background noise because well, hey, I gotta get some fucking drawings done. This work has been kicking my ass, so it's
Yeah.
been very hard to draw. I got a lot of requests, as well as a commission. I can't wait to show off once that's finally done and official. Which
Oh yeah,
can't give any details on that, but it's something I'm very excited to have been asked to do and getting paid to do, which is even better.
yeah, that's
Uh,
awesome.
but what we there has been something video games is something else we both love, and
Oh yes,
y'all have heard us go on and on about Monster Hunter, so it's not about Monster Hunter, it's about Monster Hunter
yeah.
stories. No, I'm kidding. I actually never ended up picking that game up, so
It's about the new Monster Hunter Netflix series that comes out this Thursday.
that is true, which we are definitely going to be diving into that, so y'all ain't
Oh
out of
yeah,
the Monster Hunter woods yet. But for now, what I want to address is a game I know I've talked about on here because
Mm,
I've been playing World of Warcraft since what we call vanilla, since it launched. Off and on,
yeah,
admittedly, but a good 10 years straight, and then finally just kind of off and on. As well as I can't tell you how many hours I've logged into with Diablo 3. Uh,
mhm,
I think I've gotten every character to level 70 twice because I, would buy it on PS3 and then buy it on Switch. Uh,
mhm.
but here recently, uh, Activision Blizzard is in some deep shit, and I'm glad it's come out for them. A lot of female employees. And admittedly, I'm not following the key details, so if I get anything wrong, forgive me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like sexual misconduct and like a lot of just bad news for women employees that apparently have been going on for a long time, and they finally had enough. They call it like working in a frat house.
Yeah, they are being sued by the state of California.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and which saddens me. Because this is a company, well, the Blizzard side, and I don't want to make assumptions and be like, well, surely it's the Call of Duty side of things because I fucking hate Call
hmm
of Duty. But
hmm
I'm not going to go into that. Like I said, I don't know how far back this has gone. This may have been going on when it was just Blizzard, which disappoints me
Oh yeah,
further. But
yeah,
that being said, like my 6 months subscription of World of Warcraft ends in September because I did buy it for 6 months, well before all this came to light, and I've not logged in. I did pre-order Diablo 2 remake because I never had played Diablo 2, and like I said, but with talking with you, admittedly,
Mhm.
because in your head, and again, if anyone feels like hey, I just want to play the games I love, I'm not here to judge. It's fine. But
Right.
long way I'm getting to is I can't support Activision Blizzard anymore unless something
Mhm.
major changes. And I don't mean we paid them off and people. And I know a lot of CEOs I believe are dropping out, like they are leaving the company, which may be a good change. But until I see some stuff that makes me feel better about it, which is going to be a lot and probably a long time,
Mhm.
I can no longer support them by playing WoW, by buying. I already bought Diablo 2, but I ain't gonna play it. And definitely, which also hurts though, because Diablo 4 is supposed to be releasing this year, and
Right.
I was
Right.
extremely hyped for that. But there's a lot of games out there, and
Oh, yes.
again, I do want to reiterate one last time: if none of this makes you not want to play, and you've been waiting for Diablo 4 and you want to play the Diablo remake, cool. I'm not here to judge you. Everyone has your thing. This is simply my stance, and I know Jerry agrees with it as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so what we do want, that's all the attention I want to give them. The courts get,
Mhm.
get all the attention that Activision Blizzard needs right now. What we do want to address is some games that we would recommend as alternatives,
Yes.
because since Diablo is no longer because literally after we had talked, I admittedly still played a little bit, but yeah, it was on my
Mhm.
mind the entire time I was playing Diablo. Like, fuck, I need some alternatives. The one I can recommend the most is the newest iteration of a franchise I had played off and on, just basically before Diablo, and when I was tired of it. It's called Torchlight.
Yes.
The first one was a pretty straightforward, just dungeon crawl Diablo style game. I forget what they're called, like what roguelite, I think is kind of the term they use for
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
style of game.
Roguelite. Mhm.
Um, and it was fun, but it was like I think I was playing it like right when Diablo 3 dropped, so I never stuck with that. And then part 2 came out, and I played it for a little while, and it still was not taking me away from Diablo 3. But Torchlight 3 came out a little while back, but I picked it up on Switch, and this is a damn good alternative to Diablo.
Oh, yes.
Like,
Yeah, it's a really fun game. Like we've been playing it for a couple of days now, and like just the wide range and like how quirky like the different classes are.
yeah,
It just makes it such a standout for me. Like I love it, and like the atmosphere of it is a lot more fun
yeah.
than like bleak and depressing. You know?
Which, granted, that was always Diablo's world. Was
Yeah,
very
yeah.
so. This is a more fun, steampunky, especially like with the new Railmaster. My boy Jerry just dropping railroad tracks so trains can help us fight, which is kind of amazing. What that doesn't give you a hint, but like more so than the previous iterations. Like I feel like the classes are better defined. The leveling up system, the distribution of your points, and how you can customize your character is a lot better than the previous iterations. It's been a lot of fun, and
Yeah,
I will give you all a tip. You'll have the option to start single player or multiplayer. Just go ahead and do multiplayer. It's the same game,
yeah.
but your characters will be separate from each of those game modes, which I sadly learned after already playing it for a few days before Jerry picked it up. Then, of course, we want to,
Mhm.
okay, where our schedules lined up and we're going to play together, only to find out I have no characters made in multiplayer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that
So go ahead and just play multiplayer, even if you're going to play by yourself, just in case. Because you can see other players out there, at least in town, but I believe, like, far as I've seen, the dungeons are all instanced. Unless you're in a party,
Mhm.
it's going to be just you anyway. So it's still a very good game, a very great alternative. As far as like, say, World of Warcraft players out there, MMOs, we have talked extensively about it, but we're still going to mention it. Jerry is still on it. I know you. Well, you were off for a little while, but then I know you're back on now. Like, tell them once again why you love Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is just the MMO to have. Like, not just that, they take constructive criticism and will update their game because back in the day, whenever it first released, it wasn't a perfect MMO. So they pretty much revamped the entire game with the Realm Reborn, and it's one of those things where like if you make your character or something like that, and you're like, oh, I'm not necessarily happy with this look or this class or something like that, you can easily just go in and change. You don't have to like go in and make a new character and start completely over.
Even though I
Your
do.
main, well, unless you're Sean and
Yeah,
you want to punish yourself.
I got
It's your
habits. Leave me alone.
masochist. But yeah, and it's one of those things they're always doing like special offers on, especially right now because Endwalker, the newest expansion, comes out in November. So they're having a lot of like sign-on deals. Also, like right now, one of their things, and this is something that they do, is they have a free login promotion where you can play the game for free up to a certain extent. And I want to say they have it to where you could play for free up to level 60 through Heavensward. That's the second expansion. So it's like right now, it's unbeatable. Like it's such a good MMO. It's got a really amazing community with a lot of people that are willing to help people out. There's not like PvP territories and stuff, so you don't have to worry about getting like ganked by people. But instead, what they have is they have like kind of friendly PvP where you go into a certain area and you do like an instance PvP where you can go against people and play different types of modes for that. Um, but yeah, it's just such a fun and wholesome game, and it's really beautiful. It's one of those few MMOs that has a ongoing story throughout it that's really engaging, and it's really like you get like really deep into these characters that they're showing off throughout the series, which is something that Final Fantasy has always really been big about, is developing their characters and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
The NPCs in this are really great.
Yeah, and with like I said again, with me just saying goodbye to WoW officially for a very long time at least. Yeah, I'm be jumping back in. My issues with, again, I 100% agree with literally everything Jerry just said. Beautiful game, one of the most engaging stories, because while like most MMOs have a story, they never really feel as much of the forefront as Final Fantasy 14 does. So, like, highly praise it for that. My issue is there are forced instances where you have to run with people
Mm-hmm.
and strangers, which not always bad, but I'm so damn negative when it comes to people I don't know.
Yeah,
It's probably my biggest complaint about the game, and some of the what are they called, the required like scenarios
yeah,
you have to get through can be a little rough if you're not the right class. I feel like,
yeah.
because there have been a few where like when I was originally playing the bard and then switch over to dancer, I'm like, this feels like I should be a tank right now, but which, sometimes, hey, go grind some levels, even though the game levels. No, that's right. No, actually, that doesn't even matter because it doesn't. Again,
Yeah.
some
Sinks
minor,
you.
yeah, some minor complaints to what is legitimately an amazing MMO that I need to dive back into for when I
Yeah.
need my MMO fix. Uh, Action MMOs, we still would definitely throw out Fantasy Star Online 2.
Oh yeah.
Free to play, with microtransactions if you need them, which me and Jerry played it for a long time regularly, and I didn't drop any money on that game. And it's a lot of fun. It's, for an action style. I would recommend controller for that one. Jerry, did you play controller or keyboard when we were doing that?
I did keyboard.
Keyboard and mouse, which is a true PC gamer. I'm still got my console habits. But I really did enjoy playing it on the controller. I think it helped me at least.
Yeah.
Beyond that, yeah, that's the only little MMOs and Diablo style games. But those are some fresh alternatives if you're also needing to scratch
Yeah.
that itch. That
If you
yep.
if you want a MOBA, style of
Okay.
game, instead of playing Heroes of the Storm, you could
Oh,
go to the new Pokemon MOBA that just came out.
there is Pokemon Unite, which
Pokemon Unite. Yeah.
when I heard about it, like I read the description, and of course, in my mind, I forget MOBAs exist until somebody says something about them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not really my genre.
They were like, "Oh, an action Pokemon game." I was like, "Multiplayer." I'm like, "Pokemon Diablo?" So I
Oh
download
god, I want Pokemon. I want a Pokemon roguelite now.
like picture Mystery Dungeon multiplayer with,
Yeah.
these roguelite style play. Yeah, but then it turned out to be a MOBA. I did a few sessions on it and like, nope, this isn't for me. Plus there was
Yeah.
no Squirtle, no Kappas. So, no Lotat. So I like, fuck this game. We don't need any of this shit. Uh yeah. But those would be I said I can't recommend Torchlight 3 enough. It's on PC and Switch and probably all consoles. Honestly, I'm not 100% on that. I have seen it for both. I've considered buying it for both, to be honest. There's times where I'm playing on Switch and it's great on Switch, but I'm like, man, you could tell there's some functions that were designed for PC because
Right,
some of
right.
the HUD, like in the menus and stuff, I'm like, man, this would be a lot easier on Steam. So I don't
Hmm.
know. There may be a day where I switch over from my shelf. Not saying Jerry needs to go out and buy it again, but you need to go out and buy it again on PC sometime. But yeah, that and of course Final Fantasy 14. We've gone on and on about this stuff. Square Enix, you need to throw me a free subscription because we promoted the shit out of this to all 5 of our listeners. But
Hey,
oh yeah,
listen, you haven't barely gotten to the second or the I'm sorry, the first DLC. So you could just do the free login campaign and just play for free through that,
it's
and then
true.
start playing.
Will that work with me already having a subscription?
That's a good point. I
Yeah.
honestly don't know.
Like I think I'd have to create a whole new account to benefit from that end.
Probably.
Honestly, the game is quality. It's just because I was
Yeah.
already playing WoW and a few other games I was paying for. I was like, yeah, this isn't really. 14 has its issues to where like, at the time I was 100% like still enjoying WoW, but can't anymore. Do not want to anymore. Fuck that company.
Yeah.
I'm a hop back on Square Enix's love and embrace until I find out some shit about them and everything I love. And I'm looking at my Final Fantasy collection right now. I'm gonna be really sad when I fucking sell it, but I stand by my fucking convictions. I said that.
As far as I've seen from Square Enix, they're really wholesome and great people.
Yeah,
So,
they keep it true and have probably very few women working for them in a true
oh
Japanese
God,
sense. Uh, but it's like I've mentioned it before with the creator of Rurouni Kenshin.
yeah,
I 100% quit supporting anything after his shit came out. I've said it about Oda. God forbid, I hope I never have to hear something like that about the
oh
creator of
seriously,
One Piece, because yeah,
yeah,
that shit'll be gone in a heartbeat. I don't play with this kind of shit, and
exactly.
even though even but again, last reiteration because we're about to end the show. If you still choose to support them, that's your business. I'm not here to judge. You do you, boo boo. This is just for me and for Jerry because we agree on
Mhm.
this. But
Yeah, we won't openly judge you, but we'll secretly behind your
my eyebrow will be raised very hard.
back.
But
And if you liked Suicide Squad 1 more than the Suicide Squad, yeah,
oh,
we're
uh,
definitely judging.
eyebrow is definitely furled at that.
I'm hovering the block button.
But hopefully you guys agree with us on this and understand, and hopefully you also agree with like we make a pretty fun show, and I hope you enjoyed it. uh, we try to keep y'all entertained, and we appreciate each and every one of you who listen, and maybe spread the word, maybe spread it a little harder. I don't get them views up, whatever. It doesn't matter. We have a great time talking with you, Jerry, and we're glad a few people enjoy hearing us talk back and forth occasionally.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, man.
Right on. Well, we're gonna catch y'all next time.
Peace.